Welcome to this video tutorial brought to you by simpletut.com, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own comment system. Now, if you're looking to make your websites more social and encourage social interaction on your web pages, this is a great tool to learn how to do. Now, we'll be showing you how to create the basic functions and insert the application into your existing web pages. Now, this is a basic layout I've created for the tutorial. We're going to create obviously the comment form where users can submit the comment, and of course once the comment's submitted, I'll show you how to display that in an area where you can customize the design and make it look as you wish. Obviously this information is transferable, so if you have your own projects you can develop more complex systems, but the basic functionality and the development design of both the SQL, the database, and of course the PHP will be covered in this video tutorial. Welcome to this tutorial. Now, as I already explained, I'm creating a comment system, and really what I'm trying to do is to make this as simple and easy to follow as possible. Now, of course, I'm using Dreamweaver, so this is, in my opinion, by far the best web development tool on the market. And in actual fact, I try to use the user interface as much as possible rather than going into code view too much, because it generally is where people start to get a little bit lost. Generally is where people start to get problems arise within scripting, because it's more difficult, in my opinion, to follow. In some cases it's necessary to go into code view and actually code manually. In others it's unnecessary, and I really, in this tutorial, we'll try and keep everything as simple as possible. Now, in terms of what I've done, I've gone ahead and created a very basic web layout, which I'm going to insert the comment system into. So it's easy for you to follow, and you can incorporate this into your own projects and into your own web pages that you've already developed and already exist. Now, apart from creating this web page layout, I've also created my database and table. As you can see, I've created a database and I've created a table within the database called comments. Now these are 5 fields: ID, name, website, comment, and email. And this is really where the content is going to be stored. So when someone actually publishes a comment on your page, they have to be stored in a database. And that's really what this is. So in all of these fields, these are like headings, and if you browse the database, there's nothing in it at the moment. Obviously, if I insert something into the database, then obviously the person's name will appear in this field: website, comment, email, etc. Now, if you're not familiar with setting up a testing server, which is what this is, it's a local host testing server. For Windows you use WAMP, for Mac you might use MAMP. There are 2 options that you have, and if you're not familiar with this part of the development process, then we do have a range of tutorials available on our channel, and one of them is actually setting up a testing server, defining it in Dreamweaver, and developing tables within PHPMyAdmin. I'll put a link into the description for that, or you can browse our channel, or you can visit simpletut.com, where you can go to our tutorial section and you'll find all of our tutorials, including that, on our site. Now, to continue in Dreamweaver, obviously the first step involved in developing our system is to connect our website and our page to our database so we can develop PHP functions to actually communicate with it. Now, once you open up your bindings panel, click on the plus sign and click on record set query. Now you're going to notice there's no connection defined. So you're going to need to click on define, new, and let's click on MySQL connection. And in here, let's call this local host. And now here, let's call this MySQL server is a local host server, so it's going to be localhost as well. Now the username is by default on WAMP server is root. Now you can actually, depending on how you've installed WAMP server, you can define a username and password. Now this is a very important thing to do when it comes to uploading your scripts and your files and your websites online. It's a security issue. However, when you're testing on your local host computer, you really don't have a need to do that. So for now, that's fine. Let's just click on select. Now, as long as that information is set up correctly, these are all the databases in my testing server. So I'm just going to find the database that I've created. I'm going to test it, and the connection is made successfully. Click on OK and done. I can then select that connection, and it's going to display, when it loads, all the tables within this database. And of course there's only one. Now for this one, I'm going to call this record set insert comment, and I'm not going to filter this at all. I'm just going to click on OK, and there it is. It's created our record set. It's also created our connections. So if we come to our connections, our files panel, we can expand connections. It'll find localhost.php. If you go into code view, you'll see it's created it, and that's our connections. Now obviously in something like the page where we're going to insert the comments, in the code view, it's automatically created this line of code, and it's just require once. So it's just calling on that connections file so the page can connect to your database. Now let's start to develop our actual script. I'm going to make this very simple. I'm just going to create a simple table about 500 pixels wide, say 6 rows, 1 column for now. Let's just center that. Now in here I'm going to actually make that a little bit wider, maybe 650 or 600. This is about right. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that 1. I'm going to insert form. I'm going to call this form insert comment form, and then inside the form I'm going to insert another table exactly like the previous, and I'm basically going to insert a sprite text field. I'm going to give it an ID, which is a name, and let's just call this first name. Click on OK. Let's also come down email, you could do another one for website. For now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put in a text area, and I'm going to call this comment, and then just underneath I'm going to have one more row, make that 7 rows. I'm just going to insert a form button, submit comment. That's our basic form. I can change the value of the button to say post comment, and that's our basic form. If I save the page, it's going to create a few scripts, because obviously these are sprite text fields and text areas, which basically means there's validation on the page. So for example, if I just launch this to see what I've got so far, and I click on that, it won't submit the form unless there is a value. So if I say there's a value in here, it goes green. These don't have a value, so it's not accepted. Now if I return to Dreamweaver, this is obviously name, so I'm just going to insert a title for these fields. So full name, this is going to be email, and this is obviously going to be comments. And obviously if I'll just change that to comments. Now that's a basic form, but obviously it has no function. So to give it a function and to insert this into our database, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to server behaviors, click on the plus sign, and then say insert record. And when I do this, And when this loads, it's going to select the form on the page. Now, submit values from form. So it's basically asking me what form on the page. Obviously, there's only one form, but if there was multiple forms on the page, you would select it here. Connection, as you know, is localhost. The insert table, obviously, is the comments table. There's only one table. And what we're going to do is, these are the values from your database, okay? The ID is a primary key, inserts nothing into there. Name, so we're going to submit the value of first name, which is this field here, into this field in the database. And we're going to submit that as text. Website we didn't do. If we come to comment, form comment, it's actually already selected that correctly. And email has already picked up email. Now after we submit this, what we want to do is actually just return, basically reload the same page. That's fine. Now let's click on OK. That's actually inserted that code, and obviously if you go into code view, you'll see obviously all of the code here. It's done it for us. Now obviously that's inserting the code into our data, the data into our database. But how about actually displaying the comments? Well, to do that, it's actually very simple. On this column here, I've created latest comments. I'm going to insert another table. Very simple. Two rows by one column, and let's just make this about 200 pixels, maybe. It's about right. What I'm gonna do is if I just come to this here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically create another record set on this page. And what I'm going to do is under name, I'm going to change this to comments, and obviously everything is selected here, right? But this time I'm going to sort it. I've actually not created a timestamp, so what we're going to need to do is come back to our database, and we're going to insert one more field, and this is going to be a let's call this date created, and the type is going to be a timestamp. Default is current timestamp, and just click on save, and you'll understand why in a second. So if I come back to Dreamweaver, and I'm just going to come back and create another record set as I did before. And I'm just going to call this again. I'm going to call this comments, and sort by the date created by descending. Now let's call this OK. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to come to my bindings panel. I just refresh that because it hasn't seemed to pick up the new record set. Here we go. I'm going to expand that. Now we have name. I'm going to insert that at the top. Add a few more rows to this actually. If we come to comment and the date created, let's write posted. Now I can also come to the name, make it bold, comments there. So let's save that, and that's it. So what we also need to do, is come to our server behaviors, and we need to go to repeat region for comments, and let's say the first 10 records, or we could do all records depending on how we want to set that up. Let's just say 10 and click on OK. We will also at the same time go to show region and show if record set is not empty. Comments. Click on OK. And that's basically put that into two if statements. Now let's load this page and see what we've actually created. Obviously there's no comments here, and this is our comments form. So I'm going to call this, the first name is Ashley. Let's put in an email at example.com and example post, or let's say example comment, and we can click on post comment, and of course there you go, the comment displays as we set it up to do so. Once again, thank you very much for watching this video tutorial. I hope you've learned something and that it's been useful. I'd like to take this opportunity to encourage you to visit simpletut.com. This is our official social network where we post all of our tutorials, which will help you in your development of both complex and advanced PHP applications. We also have a support forum where users can make posts and help and contribute to our online community. I'd also like to take this opportunity to encourage you to visit siteeasy.com. This is our official website where we sell pre-built PHP web applications such as user registration systems, digital goods, a comment system, and much more. We also sell pre-built websites such as e-commerce, social networking, file upload, etc. But of course we also have our own CMS platform very similar to WordPress, which we would love for you to check out. And of course we support all of our products and users and would love for you to get in touch.